So you said these are the chiefs from where?
The village.
Which village?
In
Oh, why do they have so many chiefs?
it's a big village.
Is it like one chief per square lioness or something like that?
Usually it's a king, and the king always has cabinets. So
Okay.
everyone has something that they controlling.
So this is the cabinet. Chief for the cabinet. So it's actually not bad, but the skin part has like a bitterness to it. It's okay. It's just the skin bitterness. But you know, they say bitter is good for the inner body, cleansing. And this is called jelly, which is giant. That's one person holding up all of that.
This one's going to cost.
Excuse.
Drive your car executively. Alright? Don't be applying brake. Give them chance, you know. We will clear road for you. That's a lot. For sure. Wait till me that. Go down small. Oh, if I say you go come drive, okay, you want stay. May I just quickly, you go see. If I wake up for morning, where you go there, you don't go. I go bring a car. I go there inside your man. I kunu.
Okay. I said, what you see now?
Ah, that's who they play serious music there.
All right, so I'm actually packing up. All my stuff is all over the place, and I have to figure out how to get all of this stuff in the bags that I came with. These are the presents behind me. I never got a chance to hand them out to the children or any of the adults or anything. And, you know, I feel kind of sad about that because I wanted to see the children's faces, you know, be excited about the gifts. And so they said that they'll hand it out on my behalf. However, I won't be able to see their faces. You know, I think one of the greatest parts about gift giving is in the giver. So, you know, giving and receiving are very in a line, you know, so it's like as you give, you also receive. And so I don't know, it's just I wanted to see their faces, you know, their smiles from the toys, and them play with it and even break them if they chose to, but I wanted to be able to see them get them, and I won't, and I feel sad about that. All right. And what happened? Why wasn't I able to give them away? Well, I'd say that the planning just wasn't communicated well to me. I wasn't really sure which village, because, you know, we went back and forth between two villages, and here at this village I didn't see any children, but, you know, I was told that there would be children here, so I figured that it was going to be in the next village. And when I went to ask to clarify, you know, everyone was so busy, etc. And I could have been aggressive, you know, but I decided to just kind of use my, I don't know, I assessed, you know, that because we were in a village yesterday with a lot of children, and that's why I broke up the Play-Doh into different parts, because I'm like, wow, there's so many children. Let me break this up so more children can get, right? And so I decided to just trust that if there were some pertinent information that I needed to know, that it would have been given to me, and it wasn't. And I really didn't, I could have been aggressive about it, but I didn't feel like being aggressive. I just wanted to just trust. You know, it's like as a woman, you're in a particularly precarious situation of finding the balancing act between trusting those around you and really standing up, advocating for yourself, and being pushy and demanding and making sure that you get what it is that you need, how you need it, when you need it, why you need it. Hello knockouts, Tonya TKO here, and we're going to jump into a summary of this video just so you have a sense of some of the things that are going on, which you may not have been able to understand just from looking at the footage. Okay, so in the beginning of the video, there is a guy that comes out with all of these accoutrements on him, these cowbells, and you hear the drums, etc. From what it is that I'm being told, that was a demonstration of the occult, of voodoo, right? And so he came out, he had the bells on, and I'm not exactly sure, maybe some of you who know more about it, but this is what I was told, that it represented voodoo, and I'm not exactly sure what he was doing and why, but he came out to do that. Then there was another guy who came out, and his name was Ijele, which is the giant. So he had like all of this, it was like just all of these colors and dolls and mirrors and all this stuff around him, and that was one person carrying all of that. So the person has an extreme amount of strength to carry all of that weight, and so the chiefs were the only ones who were allowed to go in and shake the guy's hand or do whatever it is that they were doing underneath the veil, right? And people were running out of the stadium after him because he's like a giant, he's legendary. So like the adults who have a connection to that from their childhood, like when he left, they left in tandem, like just running after all of that largesse and glory. We sat behind the chiefs, the king and his chiefs, his cabinet, the people who help him make decisions. Those were the people in the red hats. So instead of sitting in the regular part of the crowd, we got a chance to sit with royalty. The king himself had on like gold embroidery. According to Chaz, he usually dresses up in fantastic robes, etc. But that day he was dressed down, but still dressed up. Remember, we were talking about this hierarchy. Still dressed up above the other chiefs in his court. Okay, so here, so he was the king of Anambra. So in each state has its own governance, and they have a king, and they have, I forget the word, but inside of the video, if you listen closely, you can hear what we're saying. So there's a king of each state. So there's a king of Delta State, there's a king of Imo State, and then they also have their cabinet members. So we were in Anambra during this in this stadium during the fights of the masquerades, right? And so the masquerades, so this was the best of the best masquerades who came out to fight each other. And so remember, we were at that home, and they came out there and they were fighting. So in different parts all over the villages, there were people who came out and they were fighting. So basically, from what it is that I'm hearing, the masquerades is the fight of good and evil, and you can't tell who is who, much like in regular life. You can't really tell who's good or who's evil. I guess time tells, or action tells, or even some actions are confusing or whatnot, because there's some people who think that they're good, but the things that they're doing are blah, 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 blah. So that's the fight of good and evil. We'll do some more research on that and find out more about that. I got separated from the crew. So Chaz gets up and his assistant gets up. So I'm thinking they're going to talk to someone or whatnot, right? And then after some time passes, the guy who's the tour guide, he gets up and he's like, come on, let's go, right? We're walking, there's a door towards the back. Somebody stops me this photographer stops me to take a photograph of me. After he takes this photograph, I'm looking around. I see no one that I recognize. And then, you know how like sounds begin to get magnified like they do in the movies, and you're like looking left and right, and the sounds are just increasing, and like the revelry, and then all you see is just So that happened. I got separated from everyone. I was there alone. I had no mobile phone service. because inside of the village, the type of mobile phone service that I had just doesn't work out there. And I did not know that I didn't have the Verizon of the region. So I had like something that was good enough, but it wasn't good enough to have service in this area. And I kept telling them, look, I need to get a new chip. I need to get a new chip. But I really felt like I wasn't being heard. And it all culminated into that point right there, where I'm standing there separated from everyone. Everyone is gone. There's a stadium full of people. There's no guards with me, and people saw us come in with the guards. So now I'm there with no guards. I'm alone, no phone, and I'm just like, I know they're going to realize that I'm not with them. I know they're going to realize that I'm not with them. But how will they find me? How will they find me? I went out through the back door to try to see if maybe they went out through the back door, and if their car was there. There was another Hilux there, but that wasn't our Hilux. And I saw no one I recognized. And then at the back door, all of these people were now crowding around saying, let them in, let them in. And I had to get aggressive. I was like, I need to get in, and so the guard who was at the back door was like, yes, I remember her, come back through. And I had to like fight my way through the crowd. And so I got back in, and I'm like, you know what, I really don't know what to do. So I started trying the phone, trying to call. Other people's phones didn't work either. Chaz's phone didn't work because he didn't get his own chip. We tried to get chips at the stadium. As you see, there's like an MTN little booth, but they were saying, according to what it is that I heard, they said that they didn't have enough signal to register the chips. All right. So then I was able to get enough signal. So I'm like restarting my phone, trying to catch that first glimpse of signal. And I was able to get through to the assistant, right? And the assistant was like, oh my God, Tonya, where are you? I thought you were behind us, blah, blah, blah. And then so I was like, I'm by the back door. And before I could give 2 snaps and a twirl, here comes the armed guards, and they got guns up. No, well, not up, but they got the guns in their hands, running, looking all concerned or scared or whatever. And I was just like, oh, I felt like a damsel had been rescued. And they were like, then they scooped me up, and then they were like, let's go, right? And then so we were like going through the crowd, and there was like all of this revelry. So there were people jumping in between everywhere. And I was like, excuse, because you have to be loud and you have to be assertive in order to be able to navigate through a crowd like that. And I was like, excuse. So that's what you see. And then so after, and I'm telling you, I was frightened. Because I'm like, we must be traveling with armed guards for a reason. You know what I mean? For a reason. And so we get through most of the crowd. That's when I felt comfortable to turn my camera back on. And then we got out of the stadium, and there's Chaz out there fighting one of the masquerades. And so apparently Chaz's uncles used to do Masquerade back in the days. So Chaz knows how to do the whip to get the crack sound, right? But then why did Chaz get hit? Chaz got whipped, and he had like this huge welt that you could feel through his clothes. It was so listen, so those men are really getting hit. So thank goodness for men, because if not for men, we wouldn't have a lot of the crazy displays of sportsmanship and sportage that we see out there. And then the most dynamic part of the evening to me, I would say, was when we were getting ready to leave. So, so we rushed through the crowd. We got loaded up into our vehicles. And then the armed guards buck shots into the air. They were like, back out! And then the other one on the other side of the car was like, back out! And people in the crowd dispersed. And so I found out that the reason why they bucked those shots is to let people know that someone important is coming through. And like stuff like that you will not have in the States. You know what I mean? It's just like so like on the one hand, there's some parts of the lawlessness that exists in Nigeria that's like kind of Like, but then there's other parts of the lawlessness that actually is something that just could not exist in another time. You know what I mean? Like, where can you just see someone just buck shots into the blackout, and it be completely, I don't know if that's legal or whatnot, but without ramifications. And throughout the night, you'll hear like the gunshots to let you know that there's some dignitary or somebody or someone important nearby. So you just hear the shots ringing through the air. You're like, baka, 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 and you just hear, and you're like, I know. So like for the first time I heard the shots, I screamed, and I ducked. The second time I heard the shots, so I was caught on camera, right? And then I heard the shots like twice after that. But by the third time, listen, I'm walking through the crowd with my outfit on and my guards and all this other stuff. I felt like royalty. I did. I felt like a dignitary from when we first were getting escorted. Right? And so after those shots, you know, I ducked down, got in the car, and we rolled off. Sirens blazing and all. It was an amazing experience. I'm going to have to do another video just straight summarizing my trip to Igbo land. Right now I am in Ghana doing this summary because I'm editing now, and I'm excited to come upon, we're ending this version of the Nigeria videos and now heading into Ghana. So I'm excited about that. When you see the next videos is when I'm traversing through the airport and trying to get my ticket to come to Ghana, because remember, it was not a guarantee that I was going to get here. And so listen, I'm excited about you all seeing the next few videos. I'm loving all of the feedback and the comments, even people who are commenting whatever they're commenting. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, look, we're still watching every day. Support the vlogs, support the videos. My Cash App is Cashapp $ Tonya TKO. The PayPal is media@TonyaTKO.com. The support helps me be able to buy data and be on the best network, to be able to upload videos and to be able to just support the vlog. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot to be able to crank out these videos, 2, 3 in a day, plus the live videos, etc. So all of the support means a lot. I am humbled by the amount of people who have come out and shown support, even by just commenting, by sending your PayPals, your Cash Apps, and when you all send them, you write these notes that actually inspire me, like people who can't travel, and a woman who had a traumatic brain injury and she's not able to get out, so she's able to be internationally traveled through my videos. So I'm glad that I can be an eye for you all on the ground to see what it's like and traverse through the day's activities with me. So are you all ready to head to Ghana? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm excited for you all to be able to see this side. And then after this, we're going to Abuja. So you'll be able to see Abuja. And then after Abuja, we're coming back to Lagos to summarize the trip. And then we're going to head on out back to the States after that. So I'm looking forward to it. Give a thumbs up. Make sure that your notifications are on. And I will see you all in the next video. Tonya TKO, and I'm out. Go out there and love one another. But most importantly, love yourself. And part of loving yourself is opening yourself to new experiences, opening your heart to vulnerability, and opening yourself to explore who it is that you are. Because at the end of the day, all of these trips and all of this navigating through life actually really only brings forth a part of you that is on the inside. Some of you said you want to hug, so let's hug. And I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.